Tesla's Cybertruck has shattered expectations and redefined the electric vehicle landscape, all while traditional automakers like GM, Ford, and Ram struggle to keep up. Initially dismissed as a futuristic novelty, the Cybertruck has rapidly gained traction, especially after its Foundation Series rollout, defying critics who claimed there was no demand, the price was too high, or the Cybertruck is too ugly. Instead, the vehicle has become the #1 selling electric pickup truck in the US, surpassing Ford's F-150 Lightning and the Rivian R1T. Elon Musk has said that Tesla will soon stop production of these more expensive Foundation Series versions of the truck and move to cheaper models. However, this was 2 months ago and still hasn't happened yet. Thus far, Tesla has only produced Foundation Series versions of the Cybertruck, which are $20,000 more than Cybertruck's standard pricing for each of the dual motor variant and the Cyberbeast tri-motor variant. In other words, the Cyberbeast is priced at $100,000, but the Foundation Series starts at $120K. The dual motor is priced at $80K, but it's $100K for the Foundation Series, which is also the starting price of the Cybertruck today. It should also be noted that the $20,000 in extra costs is not just for a badge, but also comes with extra features, accessories, lifetime premium connectivity, FSD, and a few other things, so there's more value in here than it gets credit for. But what's interesting in terms of the no-demand rhetoric for this electric truck is that typically in the car market, when vehicles are priced over $100,000, demand does indeed drop substantially, effectively to below 1% of the addressable market, according to this data from Good Car Bad Car compiled by ARK Invest. Yet Tesla sold more than 10,000 trucks in the first half of this year and has become the #1 player in the space. Let's not forget that Tesla still has 2 million Cybertruck pre-orders held by people who are waiting for the non-Foundation Series models and pricing to come into effect. The demand will be so overwhelming that Tesla won't be able to handle it. That's why the company is working relentlessly to reduce costs in order to prepare for the price drop and is leveraging the first wave of more expensive Foundation Series deliveries to reinvest in this product line and drastically ramp up production, which is exactly what Tesla has done with every single one of the products that it's ever launched. They always come out with the most lucrative, highest-end models first, to be able to fund the ongoing process of ratcheting down prices and increasing volume. The Cybertruck product line is being run like a standalone business, and the people at Tesla running the show have planted the seeds for the next wave of growth while preparing to obliterate the competition. Numerous Cybertrucks have been purchased by a fleet of celebrities who've been flaunting their new pieces of technology, style, and performance to hundreds of millions of their own followers. Typically, Elon Musk actually downplays new vehicles, as he did with the Model Y, for instance.
The Model Y,
which has become the best-selling car in the world of any type of car. But for Cybertruck, they're going all out, despite having 2 million pre-orders, which even at 250,000 units per year, will still take 8 years to deliver on. Tesla may ultimately need to boost production far in excess of this. Now, some might say that, well, 2 million pre-orders isn't a real number. Many people will cancel their Cybertruck orders. It was only a $100 refundable deposit. And so the real number may be half or a quarter of this 2 million that the Tesla team has confirmed. But this canceling of pre-orders theory is a bit misleading. Sure, people will cancel for whatever reason, but what ends up happening is actually the opposite. Cybertruck sales will ultimately be far in excess of 2 million. Just look at the Model 3, which broke records when Tesla garnered over 300,000 pre-orders, a record for the industry that Cybertruck has subsequently smashed in terms of orders. But in reality, there are far more people on the sidelines who don't have a pre-order but will jump into the market when the timing is right for them. Model 3 has sold millions of units, multiple times that of its initial pre-order count, and the number continues to rise. The pre-orders for Cybertruck will have a similar trajectory, and currently give Tesla a sense of demand, but they're mainly for early adopters. In this case, there's a lot of early adopters, thanks to Tesla's incredible track record, but there are people that don't like to wait, and they want certainty as to when a vehicle is available and at what price. The vehicle market in general also has a natural refresh cycle where 80 to 90 million new buyers globally show up every year to buy a car. And now Tesla is taking Foundation Series orders without reservations in the US. They're not only trying to capture all of the economic value that they can from the Cybertruck, but this also signals to potential pickup truck buyers who don't want to wait in the queue or want a Cybertruck but are looking elsewhere because Cybertruck isn't available yet, that it is indeed available, albeit at a high price. But that price cuts are about to come soon in this next wave, and Cybertruck is closer than you think. It's essentially a pre-announcement effect that steals customers away from other brands, putting even more pressure on Ford, General Motors, and Ram, which is part of Stellantis. But these are the current leaders in the extremely lucrative pickup truck space. The Cybertruck is terrifying for these players, as it's selling like hotcakes, whereas the F-150 Lightning is struggling to catch on, despite being the electric reincarnation of the best-selling pickup truck in the world. Ford is even offering steep discounts, such as 0% financing in this high interest rate environment. Tesla's been criticized for lowering its financing rates to as little as 1.99%, despite their EVs being quite profitable, but Ford was already losing money on each EV sold before this effective price cut. Meanwhile, Tesla has just aggressively moved their pickup truck competitor into two new markets, Canada, which is surprisingly big, and Tesla's allocated limited production for this year, and Mexico. Canada is the second largest pickup truck market in the world, being roughly 10% the size of the US market, in line with having about 10% the population. This is still interesting because there are many countries with a much higher population than Canada at 39 million, and yet the pickup truck trends are almost the same as in the US. Mexico has 3 times the population of Canada, but comes in 5th largest in terms of pickup truck sales. And so this plays out in an interesting way, that the global pickup truck market is heavily concentrated in North America, which gives easy access for Tesla to deliver trucks and dominate the majority of the market, all from their single Giga Texas factory. And the pickup truck market has largely been untouched for decades, as Japanese and now Chinese competitors have focused on small cars, while Americans and Canadians increasingly like big cars and trucks. Although Toyota and Honda are still major forces in the pickup truck space, but the pickup truck industry is literally the final straw of what's keeping the traditional 3 big US automakers afloat. But that may finally be about to change. General Motors, for instance, actually sold more pickups than Ford last year across all of its product lines. But the company has been scaling back on electric vehicles, as CEO Mary Barra has backed away from her 1 million EV production goal and the promise to catch up to Tesla by 2025. In fact, GM is far behind. Their strategy entails making many different types of models, but selling each of them in low volumes, as it appears. This spreads the engineering effort thinly across the company, mimicking a juggling act as they need to firefight to maintain each of their money-losing products. Imagine having a different production line and different branches of software for each vehicle type and variant, versus just having a small number of models, like what Tesla is doing. It simply makes for a much more nimble and streamlined business. GM has recently begun delivering its new Chevy Silverado EV. For some reason, GM started with the Hummer, which is unclear as to why. The Silverado is GM's best-selling pickup truck. It needs to do well, to the tune of 500,000 units per year, if the EV versions will ultimately replace the gas cars. However, the Silverado has a whopping 204 kilowatt-hour battery pack. It's actually slightly larger than that, but that's the usable number. It's competing against the Cybertruck's 123 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which is worth mentioning since it's the most expensive part of the vehicle. It's also much more difficult to scale a 200 plus kilowatt-hour battery pack to high volume versus one that's almost half the size. Now, this does give the Silverado 440 miles of range versus the dual motor Cybertruck's 340 miles. Tesla will sell a range extender separately, which adds 50 kilowatt hours for $16,000 and brings the dual motor mileage to 470 miles of range. This actually makes the vehicles almost exactly comparable in terms of price and range, except that Tesla still has a battery cell advantage. But the bet that Tesla is making is that most people won't get the range extender, since 340 miles is actually quite good, and therefore they'll be able to scale Cybertruck with these relatively smaller battery packs much faster with fewer resources. Competitors are also drastically lacking in tech and software relative to the refined Cybertruck. We won't get started on Ford's problematic software updates, but consumers who have been inside one of Tesla's EVs have a specific set of expectations that's simply not met by the traditional OEMs. This has caused a lack of demand, especially for Ford's F-150 Lightning, for which the toughest thing about it is trying to get it off dealer lots. And this in turn creates a vicious cycle where Ford and GM as well have had to cut back on EV-related projects, such as building infrastructure like battery plants, etc., which take years to plan and build. And so this slows down progress and makes the situation even worse. Why would Ford invest more into EVs if there's no demand for its products? These EV divisions are beginning to collapse unless something drastic changes. This makes it very difficult to defend the fossil fuel-based pickup truck space against the Cybertruck. People will say, well, I like the sound that my truck makes. But EV owners know that they're saving hundreds of dollars a month on fuel. There's barely any maintenance. 120 volt and 240 volt outlets are on board, and the Cybertruck accelerates more than twice as fast as a gas pickup truck, a nice to have. It's very difficult to justify against that, especially as the sticker price of the Cybertruck comes down anywhere near the price of a competing gas car. Now Ram, which is owned by Stellantis, is also following the same inferior trend that its competitors have chosen. All of these new EVs look identical to their gas-powered counterparts. It's almost like an electric motor and battery was shoehorned into the vehicle, and then they claim that it was built from the ground up to look the same. The problem is that EVs are different. They need to be efficient on weight and have low coefficients of drag, otherwise it just won't be competitive. The Ram 1500 REV has 350 miles of range with a 168 kilowatt-hour battery pack. That's 3% more range than the dual-motor Cybertruck, but at a cost of a battery that's 36% larger. The infotainment system and dashboard are cluttered beyond belief, and there's some funny tidbits like Ram claiming to have the most powerful audio system in its class, but then the footnote says that they exclude battery electric vehicles in this calculation. It is a battery electric vehicle. How can they make the claim that they're best in class, but then exclude the class that they're in? Ram also has a hybrid truck with a large 92 kilowatt-hour battery pack coupled with a generator. This is interesting. It's a trade-off between more range at a substantially higher cost. It's also quite a large battery pack for a hybrid. Ram also has a van with just 162 miles of range that's simply waiting to be disrupted by Tesla. But the pickup truck offerings from the traditional automakers appear to be fairly laughable. They don't bring anything new to the table. They're all designed the same way. The strategy of making many models typically doesn't work and confuses customers. And there's nothing really fresh about an EV that looks like an identical gas car. And that's why the usual suspects are facing waning demand, as the Cybertruck, with its bold innovations like drive-by-wire steering, a new 48-volt system, and all the features of competing trucks like rear-wheel steering, bidirectional charging, but at a lower price. It's poised to rapidly dominate the pickup truck market. So how do you think the pre-announcement effect of Tesla's Cybertruck availability is influencing the purchasing decisions of potential pickup truck buyers? And what do you think the long-term impact will be on traditional automakers if Tesla continues to dominate the electric pickup truck market? Don't forget to watch my last video on CEO Jim Farley being brutally honest about Ford's situation. Please hit the like button and subscribe, we would really appreciate that. And a huge shout out to all of our patrons that help to support our channel. Your support helps us to continue to make great content. Thank you guys so much for watching.